Hey guys, and welcome to a new video. Today we're going to talk about Magic Found. I actually did already a video where I was talking about Magic Found, and I wanted to make the video in two parts. But I just think that it is not worth to make two different videos because I have nothing really to talk about in the second part. So I'm just going to make one video that's a little bit bigger, and we deleted the last video. So we're going to start from scratch again. For those people that already know that stuff, I'm just gonna make a timestamp where you can hop directly to the min-max strat. Well, first of all, let's begin to explain you guys what even Magic Found means in case like someone doesn't know it. Magic Found is really simply explained. Basically, you're gonna wear gear that increased the quantity of items found and also increase rarity of items found. Quantity makes that you drop more loot in general, so also more divination cards and whatever. And rarity makes that the loot that drops has a higher chance to be unique. So for like good unique items like Headhunter, Mage Blood and all that stuff. Okay, with that being said, what are we going to MF? Well, at the moment, the most public map is Tower Map for a reason, because we dropped the nurse cards there. We also dropped the wedge cards, and both are there to like try to get a Headhunter and or a Mage Blood for the wedge cards as well. The wedge gives you any unique leather belt, it can be everything, and the nurse always gives you doctor cards, which then gives you a Headhunter at the end. For the setup, we basically run normally low tier. The higher your gear gets and the more you invest, the higher tiers you can run. But everyone that is going to start is probably going to start with a tier 3 tower. Well, I'm just gonna explain it directly with tier 6 though, because there are some rumors going around that you cannot drop a Mage Blood below tier 6. So in tier 6 you can drop it, and that's for sure. I'm not really sure if the rumors are right or not, but just in case, we're gonna try to go directly on tier 6, so we are going to be on the safe side. So first of all, before you even start doing tower maps, first things first, you want to have your favorite map system, because that's gonna help you to sustain tower maps. To unlock this favorite map system, you have to do all the maps in this region. You get one slot if you completed all the maps. You get a second slot if you do the bonus objectives. So sometimes you need to make a map in Magic. Sometimes you have to do it in Rare, Corrupted. Where is one? I can't find one. Thanks. Ah yeah, because I don't have the whatstones in. Professional video, by the way. Okay, hopefully we find no one. Yeah, there we go. So for this you need Corrupted Rare, so you need to make it rare and Valor Bit and whatnot. And then the third slot is for Awakening bonus. That means that you do the map on the max tier, on an Awakening level. The Awakening level is here in the middle of your Atlas, and it gets calculated by the amount of whatstones you have in the Atlas. Every 2 whatstones that you have in your Atlas is basically giving you 1 Awakening level. And that's the favorite map system. Then after this, you also probably want to set up your Uncharted Realm, which is the hidden passive tree that you get if you do Maven and Maven invitations, like the Format, the Feared, and all that stuff. And the 2 nodes that you really want for this strategy, especially if you go in low tier maps, you want to have Secret of the Stones, because we're going to have whatstones that give us quantity bonuses. And Enduring Influence, basically we're going to use Sextons. And because of that, we just want to have an additional use, so it gets cheaper at the end and we don't have to do it that often. That's that. And then as the last thing, you want to have bonus objective points, and more importantly, Awakening bonus objectives. The more you have, the more quantity you have on your maps as well. So the more is better. If you're gonna start it with like 60 bonus objectives at the start, it's totally fine. You're gonna drop enough, and then later on you can just use the money that you made, buy more maps or so, or farm them, whatever you prefer, right? I mean, if you play solo cell phone, then it's not really possible to buy them, but yeah, that's the progression. So at some point you want to be really on max, because you just get more quant, and that's why we are doing it, right? We want to have more loot. So with that being said, that's the preparations that you want to do. There's another preparation though, and I actually mentioned already that we're gonna have whatstones with bonuses. This whatstone gives us increased quantity of items found in areas, which is 6%, that's the tier 1 roll. They should be between 3 and 4 exalteds right now. They are going to be definitely worth it. You can start, of course, with a lower amount of quantity, or with pack size, or increase modifier. And after that, we also want to have sextants, so we're going to throw them always on the whatstones. But that doesn't have really anything to do with the preparation. That's the normal setup that we run. Alright, so now we know the atlas, what we need to prepare. We know what we want to farm, and we know what whatstones. So now let's talk about how we do this. Because if we would have all the whatstones in here, you can see we're not gonna see a tier 6 tower map, a tier 3 tower map, a tier 10 tower map, but we're gonna see the tier 14 tower map. That means only this map can drop. And we wanna self-sustain our maps. If we're gonna put in a tower map, the sextants are getting used with all the whatstones in. And after that, after the map is open, but before we enter, so just the portals on the map device, we're gonna take the whatstones out again until we see the map that we want to run. So for tier 6, in this example, we want to leave one whatstone inside of it. And then we run this map, we complete it, and then we're going to put all the 4 whatstones in here again. And we're going to open the next map like that. We're going to wait until the portals are open, taking 3 whatstones out, and we're going to run it again. Because as long as you see it on the atlas, you can drop it. For tier 3, it is basically the same. You're just going to take all the 4 whatstones out. And you see the tier 3. And then you go like this. If you want to do tier 10, which is with 3 whatstones, then you leave 3 whatstones inside of it. And that's basically it. 2 whatstones, sorry. It's for 2 whatstones. Tier 12 or so is for tier 3 whatstones. I don't even know it. But that doesn't really matter that much. Alright, so that's how we do that. Let's talk now about how we choose it. As I already mentioned, we always going to use sextants. I would recommend to always only use awakened sextants, even if you are new to this strategy, if you don't have a lot of quantity. Sextants are basically always paying for themselves, especially if you farm a map that can drop a good divination card, as an example tower. And yeah, so I would recommend you to use at least awakened sextants plus sacrifices, because I have here my old setup, sorry, plus sacrifices, because sacrifice is also giving you quantity to the map. So basically what we want to do, I don't have the other sextants, but there are other, not sextants, sacrifices. There's also midnight sextant and noon sextant, so you can put all 4 of them in here, then you can start the map. It's gonna take 1 sacrifice. And the map basically has 20% more quant, which is really, really good. And the sacrifices nearly cost nothing. So it is really cheap and it just gives you more quantity. So that makes it a lot better. That is the lower strat. That's how you want to begin, right? You not really want to use directly divination scarabs and whatnot if you have 0 currency. If you're gonna farm it a while, you're gonna drop currency, because that's the reason why we do it. You don't drop as much at the start as you're gonna drop later when you full juice it, but it's going to be good enough and you want to sustain your currency. So you're gonna sustain your maps and your currency while just running the map with sextants and with the 3 sacrifices. Well, after we run this a little bit and let's say we farmed, I don't know, 3 to 5 exalteds. So we have like some exalteds to like buy more stuff. So we're gonna fill up our sextants again and also some sacrifices. But the next step is basically that we start using divination scarabs. You're probably gonna use at the start rusted divination scarabs. You're gonna farm some more currency again. And after that, I would recommend to go directly to the full juice. So after you have, again, like, I don't know, 6-7 exalteds on the bank, you probably want to start directly with the full juice strategy. So there's again like 2 steps of the full juice strategy. First of all, you're going to start with polished scarabs, and later on you can also do gilded scarabs. I would not recommend running Gilded Scarabs if you don't have a lot of quantity. So what you want to reach at least is like 60-70% quantity, and after that I would recommend to go to the polished scarab things. If you get like 90% quantity, I would recommend that you gonna start from there on to also run gilded scarabs, but only if you have like 10 to 20 exalted on the side, because it's gonna cost you a bit of currency, and you don't want to like buy stuff after every single map. You want to buy them in bulk, so you're gonna save time again, because if you just have to trade after every single map, it's not really going to be worth it. Yes, you're gonna drop more in the map, but you're gonna waste more time outside of the map, so it's not really worth it. So you want to farm some currency and buy stuff in bulk. So for the polished scarabs, there's first of all some scarabs that are worth it. So here are basically all the scarabs that are worth it for this map. There are other areas where other scarabs are worth it, but for this it's not the case. So what is worth it? And I forgot to tell you something as well. Just showing that real quick. For the Valdos Rest area, because this is also important why we're going to use a certain scarab in here. We want to skill the strongboxes, we want to skill the Harbinger, and we want to skill the Delirium. In my opinion, Blight is not really worth it. You can get Blight if you go on higher tier maps, but as long as you farm low tier, I will not recommend it. It's not really worth it. You cannot drop golden oils, you cannot drop high Blight maps, and the loot is mediocre. It's not that good as strongboxes or the Harbinger boss or whatever. Alright, so with that being said, there's the first reason why we're gonna take Ambush Scarabs. Ambush Scarabs gives us more strong boxes, and with the passive tree together in this area, strong boxes are a lot better. Because strong boxes are a lot better, it totally makes sense to always use this sextant. I also gonna run Ambush over the map device. This is also worth it already for the lower strats, like the lower juice strategies. I would always take 4 strong boxes. You cannot really do anything wrong on that. You basically pay 1C per strong box, which you normally get just alone from the normal currency, from the Chaosors, from the alterations, whatever. So this is something that's really important. Then you have other scarabs as well. You're gonna have obviously the polished divination scarabs. Those 2 scarabs I would recommend to always use, doesn't matter what. So, and now we're just gonna talk a little bit about all the scarabs that are like worth something, and then I'm gonna explain you the difference. So we have polished breed scarab. If you like breeds, you can do that. We have legion scarabs, we have reliquary scarabs, and we have elder scarabs. So now for me, I'm not using breach, nader, legion scarabs. Breach is semi-okay on tower map. It's not like a really big area, so sometimes the breaches are spawning in awkward positions and you nearly get no monsters. Although there are also like, it is a 50-50 chance if a breach spawns on a good location or not, so it is okay to run them, and it's also worth to run them. But yeah, I don't really like it in tower maps, so that's my reason why I don't take them, but it is okay. All the Watsons, all the scarabs here are okay. And then we have Legion Scarabs. Legion Scarabs is really cool if you have Inspired Learnings or a Headhunter later on, because you're just gonna be faster. The Legion encounters themselves, in my opinion, they are not dropping that much as breaches or so, but they are really insane for buffs, and you're just gonna speed through the map. It's really cool. It makes the playstyle a bit smoother in the maps if you have Inspired Learnings and Headhunters. I really like it though. But yeah, I go for the maximum currency, and they're just like a little bit worse than the others. It's not a lot. You don't really gonna mention a difference. Not really at all. I just like want to try other stuff. And I was doing better with Elder Scarabs and with Reliquary Scarabs. Well, Reliquary Scarabs are only giving you more unique items, so the most of the time you're not gonna mention them until you drop a Headhunter, a Mage Blood, or whatever. Something really, really big. but because it's always going to increase our chance and it is a more multiplier, it is really insane, and it is worth it if you plan to run tower maps for longer. So if you just want to like do 10 tower maps, well, to be fair, then a map is also not worth it. Then obviously probably Breach or a Legion Scarab gives you more currency. Although if you run this like some days and always have like 2 times the chance to drop a Mage Blood or a Headhunter is really big. Since it is possible that you drop them, and if you run it for some days, like the chance is really high that you get one. But yeah, so the chance is there. Multiplying it is for me always worth it, so this is in my setup. Then we have Rusted Elder Scarabs, and here we basically compare those 3 against each other. In general, I would say Breach is probably drawing out of the 3 Scarabs here the most currency, so also more Divination Scarabs and stuff like that. Legion is, well, as I already said, with like inspired learnings and stuff like that, it makes you a bit faster, although Breach is also very good, but I rate Legion a bit higher, but a bit less loot than Breaches. So now the question is, why does Smerlow takes Elder Scarabs? That's really easy. Since Elder is basically dropping you more maps. So when you roll your maps, you chisel them, you alch them, you Veil Orb them. You can roll them to 80% quantity and then Veil Orb them. That's also what we are doing, so I would also recommend that. So you basically gonna roll them good and then you Veil Orb them. But it can happen that you get maps like this, 70% quant. Okay, so if you run with Breaches or Legion, you're gonna sustain your maps. That isn't a problem. But you not completely over sustain your maps, so that means sometimes you need to run those maps. What I'm doing, and what Elder Scarabs is basically allowing me, because I just drop a lot more maps, you know, sometimes you get 100% quant maps or unidentified rare maps, which is basically also over 100% quant, because you roll them to 80% quant. When they get unidentified, they are at least 110 quantity. So they are already better than this map here. But we also get those maps. So obviously not every map is going to be like that, but because we over sustain it with Elder Scarabs, we can sell those maps. Well, we're not going to throw them away, they're always going to be worth something for someone. So you can sell them for like 4 to 6 Chaos Orbs, depending on if you sell them in bulk or if you sell single maps. I would only recommend to sell them in bulk though. And you can just sell those maps and you sustain normally enough quantity, high quantity maps that you can always run them. So in the long term, you're not gonna like sustain maps like this in the first 10 maps that you run. But if you was running like 100 maps, you should be from that point on able to only run 100% quant maps plus. And this is because I'm using Elder Scarabs. So for me, as a guy that runs them for a longer amount of time, it is definitely worth it to use Elder Scarabs because of the map sustain, and this gives me more quant. And more quant basically means that all the other Scarabs that I use are also more worth it. For Elder Scarabs though, it is whatever if you use Rusted Elder Scarabs, Polished Elder Scarabs or Gilded. Because the only thing that you want from it is adds Elder Influence outcome to map area. So that means you're gonna spawn Elder mobs in the map. That's the only thing you really care about. The 30% more rare Elder items found in area is whatever. As long you not really play the highest tier of maps with Cyrus Watchstones to increase the area level, it is really whatever. It doesn't really matter. Like you don't get good base rare items. So we just care about having Elder mobs in the maps. Normally, those Scarabs are nearly costing the same anyways. Normally, the price of Polished Elder Scarabs and the price of Elder Scarabs Rusted is the same. So it doesn't matter what you buy. And yeah, because we're gonna sustain the higher maps, it is totally worth it to run them with Elder Scarabs, in my opinion. Right? I mean, feel free to try it out. Do whatever is the best for you. And yeah, everything is working. With everything you're gonna do a lot of currency. At the end, you know, like maybe someone is doing like in 100 exalteds, maybe like 3, 4, maybe 5 exalteds more, depending on the scarabs that he's using. So it is not really a big difference. And it is really important to also run something you enjoy. So breed scarabs and legion scarabs are always a viable option. And yeah, that's about that. And for the gilded scarabs, what I also would recommend is if you run with elder scarabs, as I do, I would start using gilded scarabs as soon you can sustain those maps. The reason is, in my opinion, really simple, because it just gives more quant, and then the more multiplier of the gilded divination scarabs is bigger, of the rusted divination scarabs is bigger, more monsters is bigger then, because you're just gonna run more quant overall. And yeah, that's basically how I run this. I hope it was helpful. Again, right? Like, do whatever you prefer, but that's how I gonna do it. That's what was working for me. We nearly farm like a headhunter a day if we really want to. And in average, with the polished scarabs, it is like 3 to 4 maps we drop 1 nurse. So every 3 to 4 maps we get 1.5 exalted at the moment, I think, from the time I'm uploading this video, but like the price is always changing a bit from headhunters. At the moment it's going up again. It was going down to like 80x for an headhunter. At the moment it's like 96 again. And yeah, well, we will see how the price is changing, right? Be aware of that, it can always change. Always keep a track on how much your nurse cards are worth it, because if they get like really low, it could be possible that we're just gonna switch to another map where we drop exalted cards, like Port or so, like the Saint's Treasures, or Tropical Island, because there's the new divination cards, Dash of Brothers of Stash, something like that, or Trash of Brothers. I don't really know the name, but it gives you also 7 exalted cards for 8 card. 7 exalted for 8 cards. So that's like also a good option. So we can always swap around. We just need to keep track of the market. And that's basically it. We're always gonna find a way. And yeah, for tower maps, I would recommend this Scarabs. And yeah, I guess that's it. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. And yeah, go find some headhunters and mage bloods. Bye bye.